Hi, welcome to this introduction to dumbbells, and I'm Dan. I'm from 66 Days Fitness for Dads. And if you've got some dumbbells and you're wondering what routine should I be doing, how do I start, then this should hopefully be useful to you. I've got some adjustable dumbbells here. They're a great way to have a variety of weights and little space taken up. And I'm going to do a full body routine for you. So we're going to target each of the major muscle groups. We're going to do legs, chest, shoulders, back, and we may finish with some arms, depending on how much time we've got. So the principle of building muscle is that we progressively overload. So we'll start with a weight that we can do a comfortable range of 10 repetitions, and by repetitions I mean lifting the weight using the muscles we're targeting 10 times, and we're going to do 3 sets of those. We're going to rest for a minute in between. And once you're able to do that comfortably and do 10 repetitions without failure, possibly having 1 or 2 repetitions left and in your tank, so to speak, then you can increase the weight, and that's how your body adapts, develops muscle, and you get stronger, fitter, faster, healthier. So today I'm going to start with the squat. So I'm going to start with a relatively lightweight for me. I'm going to start with 11 kilograms on each of my dumbbells. And the squat is one of the foundational exercises for resistance training. So I'm going to hold the dumbbells by my side, feet about hip width apart, and then I'm going to slide my hips back out so my knees come over my toes, my back stays upright. Then I'm going to come so my thighs are about parallel to the floor, and then I'm going to push back up. So I'm going to come down, push back up, and I'm going to go for 10 reps. 3, 4, 5, trying to make sure that your knees don't wobble, that you've got strength in those legs, and that everything is under control. 2 more, and 1 more. Great, and then we're going to rest for up to a minute, and then we're going to repeat that, and we'll do 3 sets, as I said, of 10 repetitions, which is a great area to be building muscle if you're finding that you can't quite get to 10 reps. Then perhaps you need to lower the weight a little bit, and if you're easily getting to 10 reps, then you probably need to make it a little bit harder. So what I'm going to do is increase the weight for me. Now that I've done the demonstration, I'm going to focus my efforts on the squat a little bit harder this time, and there's no reason for you to change your weight if you don't want to, if you're already well warmed up. That's essential. You've got to warm up before exercise, because otherwise, especially dads in middle age, we've got an increased risk of injury if we're not warmed up properly and stretched afterwards. So I've got videos in my channel, so if you look under this video, I'll put a warm up in there and a cool down as well. So this time I'm going to go from the side on, so you can see the squat technique from the side. I'm going to go for 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And finish. Okay, good. So we'll take another minute's rest. It's important to rest between sets, because you're pushing your muscles to the point where they are tired and that they are not entirely fatigued, because when they're entirely fatigued, then you can start to lose form. And technique and form is really important when it comes to any type of exercise, especially when you're lifting heavy weights. You need to try and keep in mind all the fundamentals of your position. So in this squat, you're sliding your hips out, trying to keep a nice straight back, trying to avoid rounding the back. Just a nice neutral spine as it's known. Thighs come to about parallel and squeeze up. And the squat is a really great foundational exercise, and it's a core exercise as well. You've got to stabilize your core and get a lot of strength from this move. Okay, last set for the squats. So let's go for another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay, driving up through the heels, working out those quads at the front, glutes at the back, and next up, we're going to move on to the chest. Always start with the legs because the legs are the hardest and require the most energy because you've got the biggest muscles there. So if you're looking to lose weight, build muscle, the energy used by building up those legs muscles is greater than anything else. So always a good reason to concentrate on leg day. Now, next up I'm going to come to the floor and I'm going to work on my chest muscles, my pectorals, and I'm going to do a dumbbell chest press. So for this, I'm going to just lie on the floor with my back connected, my core braced, and when I bring my dumbbells up, I'm going to have my elbows out about shoulder height, knuckles pointing towards the ceiling, and I'm going to squeeze my chest and bringing my hands together in an arc. I'm going to come around this way so you can see that at an angle. So it's important to keep your chest and your back and your core all connected, and as you press up you're going to squeeze through your core so it becomes another core movement as well as chest. So you're starting from this position, knuckles pointing towards the ceiling, and then squeezing, bringing the dumbbells together in the middle, focusing on that chest squeeze. I'm going to go for 10 of these. 3, 4, this is a classic chest move. Of course it engages your arms as well. 6, your triceps are working at the back of your arms. 7, your core's nice and strong. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we're going to rest for another minute while we recover. I'm working in quite a comfortable range of weight at the moment, but this is a really, if you're going to start dumbbell training, this is a great way to hit all the major muscle groups, and you can repeat this up to 3 times a week. Full body exercise for middle age, 2 or 3 times a week is a perfect place to start. And as time goes on, what you'll do is you'll increase the weight so that those 10 reps, you've got a heavier weight. A heavier weight might take a couple of weeks, might take longer, whatever. See how you go. When you hit that 10 rep range easily and you've got 3 or 4 more reps in you, that's when you know that you want to increase the weight. So, minute's nearly up. I'm going to get into position and I'm going to go for another 10 reps. So feet on the floor, core engaged, elbows come to the floor, outside of the shoulders in that semicircle motion, squeeze to the top, knuckles pointing upwards, squeezing the chest. That's 4, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Put the weights down and let you rest for another minute. And there are a huge amount of exercises you can do for every body part. The chest has a huge variety of exercises, and what you're really aiming to do is to target each body part at least 2 or 3 times a week to see the optimal strength muscle development. And the benefit of strength training as well is that there's some cardiovascular benefits. You can probably hear that I'm breathing a bit harder now because my muscles are recruiting oxygen, my heart's pumping, my lungs are working a bit harder. But also strength training gives us more muscle, and really if we're looking for aesthetic changes, what we can change is the amount of muscle we have versus the amount of body fat we have. And more muscle, less body fat gives that toned look, and more fat and less muscle, you'll have a more rounded look. And if you've not got either much muscle mass or much body fat, you're going to look quite skinny. And as we get older, I will come to this after this rep, that's another reason that we do strength training. So if you come to your back again, this is the final round of the chest press. So start in that position above the chest, knuckles pointing upwards, elbows come out to the side at shoulder height, and squeeze up. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good, okay. So that's the chest. And as I was saying, as we get older, our muscle mass begins to decrease. So we become less strong, we become weaker, and our ability to move and function well reduces naturally, especially after the age of 40. So it's particularly important that we add resistance training into our routine, because that muscle development is going into atrophy, and that's why you'll tend to see older people with less muscle, with worse posture, because they haven't been training their muscles to remain strong and healthy. And that's just one of the benefits of resistance training, whether you use dumbbells, body weight, resistance bands, go to the gym, whatever you do, it's all to the good. So next up, we've done our chest, we've done our legs, now we're going to work on the shoulders. And the first move that I like to do is a shoulder press. So here I'm going to reduce the weight, because the same weight will not suffice for every part of the body. We've got different needs for different parts of the body. My shoulder muscles are far smaller than my leg muscles, and that's the same for every person. The quads are the biggest muscle in the body at the front of your leg, and they're always going to dwarf the shoulder muscle, no matter how big they get. So you need to be able to have a range of weights that you can adjust or choose for different body parts. So if I take a couple of 10 kilogram dumbbells, and I'm going to set myself, slight bend in the knees, core braced, and then I'm just going to raise the dumbbells, open up the elbows, try and stop my chest flaring out, start from about 90 degrees. I'm just going to press the dumbbells towards the ceiling. Now I'm going to come down on my hands and on my knees just to show you this, so to make sure that it's fully in picture, and just going to press up, meeting together. You can bring the elbows below the shoulders and get a fuller range of motion. But again, we're going to go for 10 of these. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so that's working that whole shoulder here, all along the top, the trapezius, deltoids, medial deltoids, that whole shoulder complex is getting a workout there. And what we want to do is be able to move through a wider range of motion and be able to do things like reach overhead and lift up our kids, all those sort of things that we need to do from a day-to-day basis. So there's really practical, functional uses for all of these exercises. It's not just about aesthetics, it's not just about trying to get that beach body, it's about trying to live healthy, happy lives for us and our children. And resistance training, as I said, has lots of other benefits, including less risk of all causes of death and serious illnesses like diabetes and even heart attack, strokes, etc. So it's got a whole load of benefits. We're going to repeat the shoulder exercise. So this time you can see from the side, and I'm just going to bring the dumbbells up. I'm going to tuck my core in so I've got a nice foundation, and imagine there's a line going through the middle of the dumbbells, through my head, elbows up, and then squeeze to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we'll rest for another minute. And the other thing to remember about resistance training is that you need to leave a day between your resistance sessions if you're doing full body sessions, because what happens when you're doing resistance training is that you are causing stress on the muscles. You're causing micro tears in the muscle tissue, and in order for them to adapt and to grow, they need time to heal. So they need at least 24 hours, and they need to have that opportunity to repair themselves and grow. If you just keep hammering the weights every day of the week, your body will never have a chance to recover, and it won't get stronger at all. It will actually get weaker, and you'll cause yourself an injury because the muscles can no longer work, and then you'll cause damage. So that's why we have to have a good plan when it comes to resistance training. Okay, last set for the shoulders. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good stuff. Okay, so got another minute's rest. We've covered the legs, the chest, the shoulders. And I said there's many varieties of exercises. There's many ways of working. We're working in a phase of muscle building called hypertrophy, and it's where we are optimally training for muscle growth. So that's this 10 repetitions of each exercise, somewhere around that region, and between 3 to even 6 sets. But as someone starting out in resistance training, your first dumbbell exercise session, then this is a great place to be. Feel how your body feels afterwards, see how the resistance is. And what you don't want to do is to wake up tomorrow feeling, oh, I'm so sore, I can't move. And there's a misconception that we must destroy ourselves in order to build and grow. But in fact, we want to encourage our body to learn and adapt, not to destroy it so that it can never recover. And practically speaking, if you've got such a lot of soreness that you can't move around in the day, you're not going to want to go back to the gym either. So Lastly, we're going to work on our back. And for this, I'm going to bring in the table, and we're going to do a single arm row, which will work our lateral muscles on the back of the body. So we're working on the latissimus dorsi here, and this is known as the lats. It's a really big muscle on the back, and we'll also get some secondary movement, obviously from the arms, the triceps, and you see how this movement's done. So what I'm going to do is have a platform. You can use a bench, table, whatever, and I'm just going to put my right knee on here with my right hand for support. My left foot is out wide. I've got this nice strong stance, my core is strong, and then I'm going to pick up the dumbbell and I'm going to use that lat muscle to draw the dumbbell back into my pocket, if you imagine. So you've got this not just straight up and down movement, you're drawing up and back, and you're going to repeat that 10 times. 4, 5, keep that core engaged. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to go straight over to the other side. Again, using your left hand and left knee as the base, right foot as that foundation, and then you're going to draw back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Now I'm working slightly less than I would normally, just for the purpose of demonstration, so that I don't get completely out of breath and knacker myself during this. But remember that you're aiming for that sweet spot of about 10 reps, and when you get to 10, you could probably do 1 or 2 more, but in order to do so, you'd probably start to lose a little bit of form. Rather than using the key muscle, like the lat in this example, that you're trying to focus on, you're starting to engage other muscles to compensate for the tiredness, and that's where form goes out the window. And when we stop working the muscle that we're aiming at, then that's another place where injury can happen, because we're recruiting muscles to do things that we don't particularly want them to do, and they're not designed to do in that movement. Okay, set number 2. Come into position, get yourself nice and strong and stable, and then draw back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I want to make sure that when you're doing this exercise that you've got a nice neutral spine, as it's known. So a nice line all the way up from the spine, starts at the base of the neck, all the way through the shoulders, down to the sacrum at the bottom of your hips, and then you're going to just use that core to brace as you draw the weight back, focusing on using that lat muscle. 4, 5, as much as possible. The arm is obviously working. 7, 8, 9, and 10. As much as possible, using that muscle on the back. And the more that you train, the more that you focus on good technique, the more you learn, the easier it becomes to identify those good movement patterns and see, feel the more developed a muscle becomes, the more it's clear which muscle you're working during each exercise. But it's really about consistency, and in order to see development, you can succeed in a relatively short space of time. You can see results very quickly in a matter of weeks. But to really make this a lifetime habit, you want to start building this exercise into your routine, and that's what 66 days fitness for dads is about. It's about making healthy part of your life, making healthy your habit, so that you're making choices that are going to improve your fitness, improve your health and well-being for your family and for yourself. So we're going to do a final set on the back. And if you come into that strong, stable position, nice flat back, neutral spine as it's known. Stick the bum out, legs strong, and then with the weight dangling down below your shoulder, just engage that lat at the back, get ready and draw back, using that muscle on the shoulder, on the back, rather. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Top sides. Try not to fall over. And let's go. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's a full body workout. If you're just starting out with dumbbells and resistance training, that covers all the major muscle groups, and you're doing enough reps and sets to elicit change, and you should continue to do that 2 or 3 times a week. And as your journey into resistance training goes on, then you'll be able to learn more different moves. But that's a really great foundation for a full body workout. So if you like that, if you enjoyed that and you want more of that, please do subscribe to my channel. Get in touch via any means, 66 Days UK on the usual channels, and drop me a message, drop me a comment below, get in touch. And what I do is I try and use these platforms to help dads to get healthy and to find better ways of living for themselves and their families through videos like this, through one-to-one coaching, and I'd love to hear from you. So keep